If you were going to predict how successful somebody would be in their job, what would you pick? Maybe how long they've been in the company, whether they were young and ambitious or older and more experienced. What I'm going to tell you now is there's a much better predictor, and you really won't expect it. A solid way to predict the success of a person is by looking at their internet browser. Before you run and delete your search history, it's nothing to do with that.
Oh my god, I have a disease, all right? I need help.
Employees that use Firefox or Chrome remained in their jobs for 15% longer than those that use Safari or Internet Explorer. From over 3 million data points, they had higher sales and shorter call times.
Thank you for your vote of confidence, and welcome to the Investors Center.
They were 19% less likely to skive off work and reached high customer satisfaction 30% quicker. I find that absolutely mental. By looking at these internet browsers, the researchers were identifying people that Adam Grant refers to as originals. I absolutely loved this book, and I really wanted to share a couple of things that it taught me. Firstly, about what an original is, and then to address some common misconceptions I had around the iconic non-conformists like Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, and Nike co-founder Phil Knight. Okay, so let's get into this.
I've been studying people that I come to call originals.
I have a dream.
Originals are non-conformists, people who not only have new ideas, but take action to champion them.
Nothing ever stands out and says, boy, that's it. There's not a eureka moment.
The title of this video makes it pretty clear that originals are non-conformists. Modern life is built around conformity. We go to school and then to university and then get a job and work your way up the ladder to the pinnacle of success and accomplishment. I'd say in general, originals tend to stray away from this path into the unknown, but maybe not as far as you might think. We'll get into that later. When we look back at the internet browsers, Safari and Internet Explorer are the default on Mac and Windows. They're the conventional option. Those using Firefox or Chrome had to take the initiative to download their preferred browser. But it didn't just stop there. These people took this approach into every single other aspect of their work. Like if the sales script they were using wasn't making conversions, they'd rewrite it.
This script, which is now your new harpoon.
I learned here that you don't have to quit your job to become an internet entrepreneur. That isn't the kind of thing that makes you a non-conformist. They're just the really famous ones. You can apply these principles into any work. There are a few misconceptions about those really famous non-conformists though, and I wanted to get into those because I learned a lot from them. Rather than taking uncontrollable risks, originals create a balanced risk portfolio. For example, Steve Wozniak started Apple with Steve Jobs. So he kept his job at Hewlett-Packard while he was architecting the original Apple products.
But I also worked for Hewlett-Packard. I was moonlighting. We couldn't pay ourselves salaries. I had to moonlight from Hewlett-Packard. Steve lived with his parents. He didn't need the income.
Also, the pioneer behind Nike took the same approach. Phil Knight kept his day job while designing the first Nike shoes. And we all know how it went from there.
As Nike has reported revenues came in at $10.9 billion.
This trend continues. A study found that entrepreneurs who quit their job had a 67% higher chance of failure than those who stayed. There was nothing reckless about these decisions from these people. Both Wozniak and Knight balanced their risk portfolios. Their day jobs provided them with the financial stability to take more radical risks in Nike and Apple. It took away the immediate pressure to get something onto the market, and that gave them more time to build on their ideas, instead of releasing half-baked products to pay the bills. Second misconception is that these people have no fear. I can't think of anything more intimidating than having to do what Martin Luther King did. Speaking on that stage in front of the entire world, knowing that the momentum of the American Civil Rights Movement relied massively on what he was about to say. Before making his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech, Martin Luther King said, "I became possessed by fear." I thought he was completely fearless because the way he spoke with all that confidence was just unbelievable. He overcame that fear, and his thundering voice united the entire country around his vision of freedom. And it's the same story for Google co-founder Larry Page. He said, "We almost didn't start Google. We were too worried about dropping out of our PhD program." In 1997, this fear overcame them, and they tried to sell their distracting side hustle for less than $2 million. Luckily, the buyer refused, and Google has become what it is today. I feel like sometimes it's easier to assume that these iconic people are just built differently. They don't feel fear. They don't have to do their laundry. They're just not like me. In reality, they all face the same fear that we do. The difference may be in weighing their options, mitigating risks, and carefully planning a route forwards, ultimately overcoming their fear. Surely non-conformists must not really care about what others think. That's why they're so willing to just veer off the path and do whatever they want. Actually, that would be wrong. But before we get into why, I want to talk about a company that's been helping me loads with making this video. I've got an issue, right? I love buying books. The covers always entice me in, but then I don't actually read them. The thing is, I'm missing then all of the great lessons from these books, and that's where short form comes in. They provide book summaries that distill the lessons from a book into a few pages, rather than all of this situation going on. I only really want to work and talk about companies that I really believe in. So I've been using short form for the last 4 months, and I've really loved their product. It allows me to get key takeaways from a book when I don't have time to read the whole thing. Or in this case with originals, it allowed me to remind myself of the key ideas from the book that I'd already read. To get 20% off an annual subscription, go to shortform.com/Jack. I'll drop that down in the description as well, and I hope you find it as useful as I have. But now, let's get back to why non-conformists care more about what others think. Abraham Lincoln is widely regarded as being one of the best American presidents. He made radical decisions that completely reshaped history. Surely, to make those massive decisions, he had to disregard the approval of others, to make decisions against the grain, and against the conventional thoughts of the time. But maybe not actually. So when experts rated the presidents on their desire to please others and avoid conflict, Lincoln scored the highest. He actually wanted to avoid conflict, and yet he made the decisions he did. He spent 4 hours a day speaking with his citizens, gathering their perspectives. It took him 6 months to come to his final decision to issue the Emancipation Proclamation to free the slaves. When analysing 15,000 entrepreneurs, people with little concern for pleasing others weren't more likely to build businesses, nor did they perform any better when they did. Non-conformists do care what other people think. They don't disregard approval, but they also don't rely on approval from every single person before taking action. Originals question convention. They ask why. And leave a comment with your favourite original and whether you identify as one. I'll see you soon.